All right. I'm a lucky fellow. Every once in a while, I discover new writers of horror. I found two recently that I'm really, really pleased with. I like writers that can write moderate to extreme horror. Good moderate horror and good extreme horror. I don't know how easy it is to do. I haven't written that many books.
You've got some new scary stories to talk about today.
The first one I'd like to mention is the first one I found. His name is Daniel Russell, and I think, if I've got this correctly, he is a guy from England who lives in Australia.
What? Who is Daniel Russell? No one's ever heard of him, no. Okay, he writes scary books? Well, let me tell you something then. Daniel Russell is totally stupid.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Did you just say Daniel Russell was totally stupid? Did you?
Why? Because he doesn't write about zombies, no. And if you don't write about zombies, you suck. Well, go ahead. Talk about these books, and so we all be entertained, okay?
I was reading on Nook one day. That's the system I use. Some of these I found on Nook, and some I did not find on Amazon. So make sure you check. All of these were on Barnes & Noble or Nook. I read the description for one called Fluffs, F-L-U-F-F-S.
Fluffs? Oh, that's like a Star Trek Tribble story? On steroids? That's pretty funny.
You know those little fuzzy things that sit on the top of pens with the googly eyes? Well, imagine them a little bigger and not friendly. That was the first thing I read by him. And then I realized, I know this sounds like I'm making this up. This guy is a friend of mine on Facebook, and I knew he was a writer, but I had never read anything by him before. And I looked at Nook books, and I looked at the description under horror, and thought, who is this? And I couldn't believe it was him. I went back and checked, and it's really the same guy. Fluffs was a real interesting short story for me to get introduced to. You will notice when I show the photographs of these up there that many of these were free. Yeah, free on Barnes & Noble, which is an incredible incentive to get introduced into somebody that you will be willing to pay for. The second one was called The Bell Jar Heart.
The Bell Jar Heart. It sounds like something Edgar Allan Poe would write. Yeah.
And I liked it. It reminds me of an Edgar Allan Poe story, or one that Edgar Allan Poe would have written had he lived today. The third one is Roots. I found Roots to be a little more extreme than these other two. There is a gross out scene in Roots that was really, really disturbing and well worth $1. The next thing, I had been hearing from Daniel about Samhain, which is his latest novel, and it's for sale on Amazon Kindle and Nook.
Oh, that book looks like supernatural. Oh, really? It's not? Well, tell me, Mr. Genius. If it's not like supernatural, why is there a hunter and his boy's name is Sam? I think a little bit obvious, don't you think? Pretty cute, huh?
Samhain, it reads so much. I never asked him because I didn't want to ruin it for myself. It reads like an episode of Supernatural. It really does. The hunter, there's a hunter of these supernatural creatures, and his son is named Sam. Maybe it's coincidence, I don't know. But it's really good. I like him because he's very fast-paced.
Come into darkness. I like that stuff. It's scary. Or if I thought Hostel was a comedy, I don't think I'm going to think this book is very scary. No. He's got some cool books. Maybe he's not so totally stupid.
Come Into Darkness is his latest foray, and I'm not paid by Daniel. He didn't ask me to do it. None of the publishers asked me to do this. I'm one of those freaky people that if I'm enthused about somebody, I want you to be enthused about them too. And quite frankly, I'm enthused about both of these guys. The last one comes with a warning. And I'm serious. I've read extreme horror, some extreme horror. I think I know what I'm talking about. It's called Come Into Darkness. I was not expecting this. It's a really interesting, it reminds me of Saw in a way, the movie Saw. These people get basically lured into this house and they have to go through these heinous tableaus, these visitations or these rooms in order to get out. It's a Twilight Zone episode mixed with Saw. And now I'm going to give you my warning. Be very careful. There are some people out there that will think this is a comedy. Fine. There are those of you out there that are very sensitive. And there is a scene in this book, Come Into Darkness. I wrote the author and told him just what actually almost called him an unmitigated scumbag. I mean, this is so cruel. Be careful. He's a taboo breaker. Come Into Darkness, very satisfying, got an interesting Twilight Zone ending. It's like I said, it's like Twilight Zone mixed with Saw. But I like Daniel Russell a lot. Most of these things are Samhain is well worth $2.99. I think Roots was $1. Come Into Darkness was $2.99. They're as an ebook, they're incredibly worth this. The next writer is another bit of serendipity because when a small press, Skullvine's Press, a few years ago published a series of short stories, I had one of them in there. This guy had a short story in there, and I didn't know him by name. But I started looking again on free horror on Barnes & Noble and found several really interesting things by him, and you're not going to believe that one of them is free. I promise you, I swear to you, it's worth $7.99, although it's free. The first one is a collection of, he's got these Twisted Imaginings, volumes 1 through 4. I've read volume 1 and I liked it. I'm like, wow, I really like this. It was free.
Okay, who's next? Oh, Garry Charles? Well, do I need to say it? Does he write zombie books? No? Well, then he's totally stupid too.
Oh, Garry Charles is totally stupid now too because he doesn't write zombie books. I haven't read everything by Garry Charles. I don't know if he has written zombie books or not, but he's not totally stupid.
I don't care what anyone else thinks. No, because they're totally stupid. He writes scary stuff, like what? Tell me, all the stuff you have by him, that's free. Twisted Imaginings, volumes 1 through 4, that sounds like me.
So it led me into a novella of his. I wasn't, sure it would be something I'd be interested in. It has a lot of military stuff in it, called Shredder. Which actually turned out to be my favorite now. Shredder was free. And Shredder is I'm not Aliens versus Predator, but kind of like a mixture of Predator or Aliens. Kind of.
Shredder? Oh, what is Shredder? Aliens versus Predator?
It's in that realm and really hideous. Shredder is cruel.
No. Like Predator or Aliens? Oh, is it pretty scary?
But it doesn't match up to this next one. And I paid for this one. Of course, by then I was willing to pay for his stuff. But I would have paid for Shredder, by the way. But it was free. Tranquil Disturbances.
Tranquil Disturbances. It's 2 books. 2 books in one. Ooh, it's a 2-volume grindhouse. What the hell is grindhouse?
Those of you who do not like their horror to be very cruel and hideous, and I'm warning you, extreme, be careful. The novella, the first one, the short one, Tranquility, is about a very peaceful little town. In fact, both of these obviously together produce this double-length grindhouse book. And Tranquility, both of them involve very tranquil situations in which something heinous comes in. In the first one, it's people. A motorcycle gang rides into this very peaceful town and just begins to liquidate the town. And I'm warning you, it's not a gentle book.
So the first one is about a motorcycle gang. I hope that they're in the town and kill everybody. Those are my favorite kind. Except in Dawn of the Dead, where they run in and kill all those poor zombies in the mirror. I hate them for that. Stupid.
The next one is the one I'm going to give you a special warning about. Dead Tide.
Dead Tide. Hey, is that a zombie book?
Dead Tide is like the zombie movie 28 Days Later, right? Is it right?
Oh, it's like 28 Days Later. Well, 28 Days Later wasn't a zombie book, stupid. That was a Contagion movie. Oh, it's like that.
All right, okay, I get it. All right, it's Contagion. I'm sorry, 28 Days Later is not a zombie movie. The people aren't dead; they're just psychotic. Well, that's what happens here too. I'm very much against spoilers, but basically a contagion enters this village.
Oh, that sounds totally cool. I might have to read that. He might not be totally stupid then.
Be careful with some of these new horror writers, like Jack Ketchum, Brian Keene, Richard Lehman, Edward Lee, Rath James White, Daniel Russell, Garry Charles. I did say Jack Ketchum, right? He's absolutely one of my very favorites. They're not writing. These are not your mommy and daddy's horror stories. This is new. These are not pretty. These authors know that horrible things. They're in the Clive Barker type of full disclosure horror is what he used to call it. They know that horrible things happen to animals and little kids and babies and old people and women and men, and they'll all do this. So be careful when you buy books like this that you don't already know what you're in for. This is the new horror, and these two authors are definitely in the new horror. They're writing books that are basically written with hatchets. I have some books. Again, the reason I promoted, not find these on Amazon, but I did find them on Barnes & Noble for the Nook.
What's this free stuff?
And one is called, again, I have not read these. I do have them on here. Are These Eyeballs? These are all by Garry Charles.
Are these eyeballs? Is this an eyeball? I think I need an extra one.
Twisted Imaginings, volumes 2 through 4. I have only read the first volume. Body Art.
Body art? Oh, I've got some body art, but they're more like nail holes. But he pounded some nails in me one time, and then I ate him. That was totally good.
And Valhalla Unleashed.
Valhalla Unleashed. That's pretty cool for some free books. Yeah, okay.
I can't recommend them yet because I haven't read them, but there is a lot, and there's 2 other things on Barnes & Noble by Garry Charles that are like $1 or $1.50. The ones I had to pay for that I highly recommend before they go up in price: Samhain, Come Into Darkness, Tranquil Disturbances. Just buy them. If you trusted me in the past and I've said that something is extreme or rather extreme, these are also. I thank you for joining me. I hope that I have turned you on to 2 new authors that I really, really appreciate. And thanks for tuning in. Thank you. Bye.